Project Sapient is a podcast meant to engage our brothers and sisters in the law enforcement and military communities in conversations that we all know we need to have. All opinions you'll hear are our own, are protected by our First Amendment of the United States Constitution, and in no way reflect or are meant to reflect the opinion of any specific agency, officer, or service member. Some opinions may be controversial. Listener discretion is advised. Enjoy. Ivan!
Hey!
How are you, sir?
How you doing?
Very good.
Oh, that's good. Good for fucking you.
Why are you so fucking violent towards me all of a sudden?
Oh, we're going to hit a topic that I think I'm going to fucking throw blows out here and there.
Giggity blows. Guys, Project Sapient. Check out our website, projectsapient.org. Shoot us an email, projectsapient2020@gmail.com. We want to thank our supporters, Vector Shields, Gym Junkies, Havoc Journal, our partners at the Weekly Havoc Podcast, Second Mission, Live Boston 617, WellnessForWarriors.live, ODKit.com, EagleEyeFirearmsMA.com, GunTrack, Houlet Law, Fit Cops, 22 Mohawks, and Joint Operation. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. We're known as Police Podcast on that. So, thank you for making us the #1 military and law enforcement podcast on the planet, you guys. You guys are awesome.
What are we over now?
15,000.
15,000.
Yes.
Wow. Hey, South Dakota, get on the fucking network.
Yeah. It's the only state in our union. Dude, we have people in, like, Afghanistan listening to us.
Yeah, I know.
What the fuck is wrong with you, South Dakota?
Jesus.
So, all right.
Anyways.
What do we got today, buddy?
So today we have our friends from Joint Operations on, and we're going to discuss an issue that that many veterans know and they understand, and we want to talk about the hypocrisy of the VA.
So we got Todd and Bill from Joint Operation. Guys, can you hear us?
Yes.
Awesome. So, go at it, guys. I want to hear this, and I don't want to get hit. You keep fucking beating me up, dude. Jesus Christ.
Hey, listen.
Somebody needs a little bit of medical marijuana.
Listen, a lot of anger on this subject, because there's the experience from the VA. I mean, during Vet to Vet, you guys talked to my father-in-law, Vietnam vet, how he got treated when he came home, and obviously completely different than the way we got treated, the current veterans, but still like almost similar issues, with the VA. So it's wild, the type of shit that goes on behind the scenes at the VA that no one really hears about or knows about. And Todd and Bill, you guys can get right into it and just talk about what you guys have seen on your end, being a cannabis dispensary, and what you've seen when it comes to veterans getting the help that they deserve, not just need but deserve.
I mean, it really comes down to the VA I think the VA is sort of playing games with politics here and not really doing what they're supposed to do. I mean, one of the VA's core values is advocacy, right?
Yeah.
The VA and its employees will be truly veteran-centric by identifying, fully considering, and appropriately advancing the interests of veterans and other beneficiaries. That is a core value of the VA. They are not doing that. When it comes to cannabis, when it comes to research in cannabis, when it comes to providing vets with cannabis, the VA is stonewalling all across the board. They're playing politics with people is what they're doing. The VA has the ability. They have a Schedule I drug research license at the VA. They have the ability to say, we are going to study research for the effects on veterans and how cannabis can help or hurt them. They have that ability. They are not doing it. All right. They say basically they are opposed to any research bills that go into Congress for cannabis. Why?
That's a great question. I mean, so I did not know that they had a Schedule I license to be able to study certain drugs, certain Schedule I drugs, like cannabis, to study and research if it helps or hurts veterans. I didn't know that they actually had something like that.
The VA is actually actively studying synthetic CBD and PTSD.
So synthetic.
Why not just do actual CBD? Right?
Yeah,
why not do the actual real stuff?
Nature doesn't know what it's doing.
Yeah, so why synthetic versus the real thing?
I guess maybe there's money from the pharmaceutical industry.
Yes.
That would be my guess, right?
Yeah.
Follow the money.
Yeah.
Right? Why not? Why are we understanding synthetic THC? Right. The agency has also approved a study on efficacy of synthetic THC for pain. Why aren't we just studying the actual stuff that we know works?
Because that would make sense. God forbid.
Well, yeah, that exactly. And here's the thing, like when we first got you guys on the show talking about dispensaries and how everything is actually studied and from seed to plant, everything is followed in terms of purity and cleanliness and the quality, and you know what you're getting when at the finished product. So it's not like the VA is not going to the black market where drug dealers where they don't know what they're buying and where it came from or what it is. These dispensaries are legitimate businesses that specialize in cannabis.
Right.
So it versus, again, like we said, Big Pharma wants to do this bullshit. Right. Yeah. Bullshit synthetic THC, which, if I remember correctly, there's something called synthetic heroin, AKA oxys. Yeah, right. And how did that work out for them, for the country when that happened? It
comes down to lobbying. Right, because Big Pharma, the amount of money that they're spending lobbying is monstrous.
Yeah.
And my take is that Big Pharma hasn't really figured out a way to cut these guys out.
Yeah.
To get the big pharmas to control everything.
Yeah.
Right. I'm thinking that's the only reason that it's not federally legal.
Well, I mean, I don't know if Todd or Bill, you guys would know this. Why is it even just stonewalled? They don't even want to entertain research. Is there anything that you've seen?
That's the mystical thing about it, because everyone says, well, we don't have FDA approved research, so we can't make a decision on it. But then when you file bills in Congress, both Democrats and Republicans have filed bills in Congress that would mandate the VA to test cannabis with veterans, to do medical tests. They say, oh, well, there's not enough FDA approved research, so we can't test it, but we're not going to test it, so we have the approved research to then go ahead and test it more. It's a circular argument.
That is
right. We can't do it because of A, but we're going to oppose A, so we can never do B.
Have you guys heard, and this just came to mind, I've seen a couple of documentaries on it. Have you guys heard of the studies that the federal government, I think the VA is involved on the use of microdosing of LSD on PTSD?
Yeah, so there's a growing field of whether mushrooms, psilocybin, microdosing mushrooms, microdosing a variety of I guess hallucinogenics you would call them, but in tiny doses.
Right.
People have had good luck, especially things like schizophrenia, and so they're thinking PTSD, and they're going to the other mind-based ailments that people have, and they are finding some success with it, and they are doing some research on that. But it's the cannabis thing they're adamantly opposed to. And, the FDA comes out and says they're not ideologically opposed to the measure, meaning testing cannabis, but they have the ability to advocate. They're required to advocate for veterans. And when you have hundreds of thousands of veterans doing something that's helping them, and you can't even talk to them about it because of regulations, you have a moral obligation to advocate for those people. Say, hey, we need to test the stuff. We need to find out what's going on with this, right? I'm not sitting here and say I have all the answers and I know that there's absolutely no long effects of taking cannabis every day. We don't know that, but we should find out because they're doing it anyway.
How else are we going to find out unless you get these things out there? You get people using it. It's kind of like the vaccine fucking,
I was just gonna
the
say,
Rona thing.
The COVID, the COVID vaccine, how quickly the FDA and everyone jumped on board to study it and do all the studies and rapid and all that shit. Yet, something that, again, to me benefits. Let's just put it this way. Another tool in the toolbox for veterans to help combat PTSD, TBI, whatever else. I mean, why don't the VA? Yeah, I agree, Todd, 100%. They should be the largest lobby for veterans going into 100%. Congress and saying, hey, fuckers, we need this to get studied because a lot of our veterans are saying X, Y, and Z. Let's look into it versus not even entertaining it, not even putting it on the table, or even tell Big Pharma, hey, if you want to fucking keep doing business with us, leave us the fuck alone.
They're not going to.
Yeah, they're not going because, again, that's Pharma doling out money.
Too many people, the elephant in the room, too many people in Congress have their their pockets lined by Big Pharma.
Yeah. Yeah,
it's the truth.
No, that's 100%. That's how the opioid epidemic happened.
Yeah, exactly.
Fucking Congress had money right in their pockets.
And that's not even conspiracy anymore.
No.
There's so much information that's come out about how, like, the oxys and stuff of that family. I forget the name of the family that did
Purdue.
it. Was it Purdue? Yeah,
Purdue Pharma.
Yeah.
Sackler family, Purdue Pharma.
Yeah. So if we talked about this 5 years ago, we'd be crazy.
Yeah.
Hulu has an incredible show on the OxyContin called Dope Sick. It's on Hulu right now.
Yeah, Michael Keaton. Yeah, Michael. I haven't a chance to watch it.
Outstanding series. One of the best things I've watched in a long time.
Wow.
So you guys are in the cannabis industry, right? We know that cannabis can affect you, right? Does it have any kind of deleterious effects like opioids do, like alcohol does, like any other treatments that we've had out there, chemical treatments? Because at the end of the day, THC is it considered a chemical?
Yeah, it's a chemical compound within the plant. It's a naturally occurring compound in the plant.
Okay. So THC, is there any kind of studies or data out there that's showing that THC can have deleterious effects on people?
If taken in excess when you're young and your brain is still developing, there are some studies out there that say it could slow mental development.
Is that what we call the potheads?
Yeah. If you're a 14-year-old kid smoking, 5 or 6 joints a day, probably not the best thing for you to be doing. Right? But you can't overdose on it. You can't become physically addicted to it. There's no physically addicting properties to cannabis. There's nothing you can do to overdose on it. It doesn't react on the central nervous system, the heart, the brain, the lungs, the same way other medicines and opioids and alcohol do. It's not a depressant like those do. So you can't, you drink too much alcohol, you depress yourself so much it shuts down, right? Yeah. You overdose on drugs and it's either cocaine and your heart explodes, or it's heroin and your heart stops, right?
Yeah.
Either way.
Or rage, like Iman has fucking rage.
I got natural built rage, all right?
Right. Your biggest risk in cannabis is taking a nap and ordering 4 pizzas. That's the truth, right? But certain people, again, it's a compound that occurs naturally. Certain people's bodies may react certain ways to it. Certain other medications might react certain ways with it. We need to study it. We need to look at it. And this whole VA thing comes down from the top. The VA head is appointed by Biden. Biden has no desire to legalize cannabis. He knows the second he deschedules that drug, studies start like crazy, and everything we know about it's going to be proven absolutely wrong, right? It's not a gateway drug. It's not dangerous. It's not this. Oh, actually, it has amazing health benefits for people. It really helps people with rage issues. It really helps with PTSD. It helps with pain. I mean, you name it, it helps with it. But we need to understand dosing and delivery systems. What delivery system is the best? Is it smoking it? Is it a tincture? Is it a beverage? Is it a lotion? Who knows? But we need to understand this stuff. And for veterans, my God, when you have the people you're supposed to advocate for you, and you have people in Congress screaming at you, do these tests, do these studies, advocate for these people. They put their lives on the line for this country for years, some of them, decades, some of them. Yeah. You can't speak up for them and say, hey, something's happening with this plant. We should investigate it.
Here's the thing. Our generation of veterans, our generation, the 9/11 generation, I'll call it, we've been at war for 20 years, a little over 20 years. That's the longest time the U.S. has ever fought a war, 20 plus years of fighting. And you have so many veterans, so many veterans that have all kinds of ailments, from the burn pits on down to, PTSD to I just learned one of my friends, he got hit head on with an RPG that didn't go off because it didn't have time to arm. Now he has a small hole in his brain. Oh. So there's there is so many ailments that veterans of this current generation have. Why not research other things too, like cannabis, like just anything else to help? Because to me, you go to the VA and it's not so much healthcare; it's more like sick care. Okay, here's a bunch of pills. Come back and see us if you need more.
They're treating symptoms. They're not treating your whole body.
Exactly. They're not doing like a holistic approach that we always talk about. The VA is very compartmentalized. They got the PTSD clinic, then they got the TBI clinic, then they got the primary care clinic, then they got this. Everything is a clinic. Nothing's really ever combined. from what I, in my experience, because I mean, for example, I'll talk, to a pulmonary specialist and I'll ask him, well, does my doctor know of the results? Oh no, not yet. I'm like, well, why aren't you guys talking? Like, why is everything so compartmentalized still?
What does that remind you of? The feds.
Yeah, the feds. Exactly.
Federal fucking, like the FBI, the CIA,
well,
nobody was talking to each other.
Yeah, exactly. And it just, like, to me, we going back to Todd and Bill, it's like, they're doing a huge disservice to every veteran out there. Yeah. From World War II on up.
It's not even a disservice. It's complete apathy.
Yeah.
It's like if you're not willing to call for studies on probably the most controversial subject right now that hundreds of thousands of veterans are using, requesting, you got Congress screaming for it, you got the public screaming for it, and you're just saying no, and you just don't care.
I mean, I have lots of friends that have gone through the system, and you know how the paperwork is.
Yeah.
It makes it, they told me they're like, it's like they don't want you to succeed.
No.
The advocates.
Yeah.
The advocates that file the paperwork, they make it much easier. And they make this. And, you were surprised when Todd said the last time about the studies and the everything that goes into from the CCC monitoring the purity of the cannabis through the, how they put all the regulations on it. When I got into this, Mike and Todd came to me and they, veteran owned. You have the cannabis dispensaries are popping up all over the place. And these guys came and they said, we want to do a veteran-owned one. We want to focus on veterans, and that's kind of a unique thing. And you can see from Todd, when I talk to these guys, they're a little bit knowledgeable, right?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah. So these guys are doing, you talk about the work that goes into making sure that it is safe, it is studied, and how Todd just can go on and what the VA should be doing. I mean, it's just obvious.
So let me ask you guys a question, right? It's obviously in Massachusetts, it's legal, right? We know that we're hitting a stone wall going to the federal side. Is there anything that we can do on the state side, like maybe going to the governor in Massachusetts and being like, hey, guess what? You legalized it in the state. We know that there's a benefit to veterans, even though the whole veteran thing falls under the federal government. Why doesn't the state try and fund some state research on these things so that we can aggregate a few states and then send it? Then it's clear cut. Then somebody like Congress can't say anything about it.
So state of Michigan just last week announced $20 million from their revenues, tax revenues from cannabis are going to research PTSD and veterans.
Huge.
Wow.
Just this week announced it.
That's what I'm talking about. So why don't we do a push in Massachusetts to try and do something like that?
It's going to have to happen at the state level. It's interesting. So the buried in the recent $1.2 trillion spending bill that just got passed.
What isn't buried in it?
Requirement for the FDA to allow, or the DEA, to allow private research facilities to be able to buy cannabis from commercial people, right? Because right now, if you want to do a cannabis study, you have to buy cannabis from the DEA. They have one operation. It's in Mississippi State University, and it is the worst weed you've ever had in your entire life. It's about 7% THC, which is about a third of what most of the average is on the market. Usually about 20 to 30% THC is most of your cannabis. And it's the trichomes and you get technical into the weeds on this, but the quality of the flower and the potency of the flower is dismal compared to what's on the public market. So they have to come up with a plan to allow private enterprises to buy from the commercial market because they get better quality cannabis. They have 2 years to submit a plan. What happens in 2 years?
How many people die in 2 years?
Yeah. Well, the next election, right?
Yeah, next election, 2 years.
They just said, fuck it. We're going to leave it for the next guy to deal with. Give us your plan in 2 years. We'll let whoever comes in office next argue about the bickering. 2 years to put a plan together to let a research facility at Harvard buy cannabis from a wholesaler in Massachusetts. You need 2 years to figure that out. They're just punting the ball down the road.
Yeah.
The federal government and Joe Biden has no desire to legalize cannabis before he leaves office.
Here's the thing, like we said, Massachusetts, we've got some of the best universities and researchers in the world.
Yeah.
I'm sure they would love to do some really good sound research. I mean, Harvard Medical School and all their research that they come out with.
Because the second that they touch the stuff, they're going to lose federal grants. They're going to lose, you know what I mean?
I get that.
Dr. Stacy Gruber at Harvard is one of the leading cannabis researchers in the world. She's right at Harvard. She's amazing. And so it took her 2 years to get a study funded to be able to even buy the cannabis from Mississippi State University.
2 years.
2 years.
Wow.
2 years.
So how much damage is being done to veterans? How many health issues are coming up that could have been treated?
Yeah.
How much
Pete, you brought
PTSD?
up a good point. State level, Pete, and I brought it up last time. I said, PTSD doesn't just affect the military. Police, fire, and first responders get the same stuff. And how many departments don't allow use of cannabis per policy, which I don't understand because, the department I used to work for said, not only can you not use it, even though it's legal, you're not allowed to work at a dispensary, either part-time, do details. You're not allowed to have anything to do with it.
Yeah.
How can they, that's like saying, well, you can't, work
at a liquor
store or something, but you can't use it. You can't say you can't use alcohol. That's a legal, substance that you're allowed to use, but why can't you use, if you have PTSD, it's the same for cops.
Yeah.
They're not allowed in certain, wherever the policies are that they can't use. So statewide, it's the same thing.
Yeah, policies came out right away when marijuana was legalized, fully. At first it was medical, so there was a slight policy on the medical side, but then once the floodgates opened, you saw all the police leaders, policy after policy, right away.
And a lot of that is the fear in the unknown, especially in Massachusetts with these. It's a really old law enforcement culture in Massachusetts.
Yeah.
The we don't do that here, kid, is still kind of around.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it is.
And they haven't been desensitized. All right, my parents, for example, right? They're not law enforcement, but my parents' generation, they're in their 60s and 70s.
Yeah.
Okay. A lot of these lawmakers are in their 60s and 70s. My parents both have health issues. And when I brought up the use of medical marijuana to them just recently, like a week or two ago, they were into it. They were like, oh, really? Only because of the last 2-3 years of what's been going on in the state, and they've been desensitized to it. 3 years ago, if you asked them about it, they would have been like, I'm not going to become a pothead. And it's like not
realizing that it's not your 14-year-old smoking 3 joints in the morning before walking into school. It's more the more specific stuff, the more medical side.
So I've gotten injured a couple of times on the job, really bad injuries, right? Yeah. And they would try and push fucking opiates on me all the time. And it's like, Jesus Christ, I don't want them. Yeah. The few times that I had to take them, it was like, I'm all set with this. Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
And in conversation, when you talk to like some of these medical directors, you'd ask them about medical marijuana or even CBD. In our department, I can't even take CBD.
Yeah, same with mine. CBD is...
No,
we can't.
We can't take it. Can you explain that to me?
I can't even begin to fathom the last time.
That's my point. The cops are in the same... Cops and firefighters are there in the same boat as the military.
You could drink a fifth of Jack Daniels every single day, but you can't take a CBD gummy.
Exactly.
Exactly.
That makes perfect sense, I guess.
Yeah. No, it's against policy to have any CBD product.
Yeah.
And that just goes to ignorance because, honestly, it's just ignorance and a refusal to gain knowledge, right? CBD has no intoxicating effects whatsoever. No. It doesn't. It's the cannabinoids without the THC.
Yeah.
You can't get high from it. You won't even fail a drug test if you take it.
Yeah.
Right? But they're banning it because why? Because it's cannabis's cousin. This is basically to describe it.
Yeah.
They're similar plants. One has all the CBD. One has all the THC. They're related in the same family, but they look completely and they act completely different. And people just banning it like that, it's just
arbitrarily just making decisions without any kind of data, any kind of knowledge. It's so old thinking. It's
just
unbelievable.
Again, it's like when we first talked, I said, the whole reefer madness videos and shit, it's like people still, I don't know if these, 60, 70-year-olds still think of it as that, Night of the Walking Dead type of thing.
Reefer madness.
Yeah, reefer madness. And everyone goes crazy and go nuts. And that's, I think, what goes in their heads is that type of shit. It's unreal. And that's the thing. So like example, like a success that I know of personally with CBD and tinctures and stuff like that is my wife's friend. She had throat cancer, I believe. So she had to do, obviously chemo and radiation. So she got radiation burns all along her neck. And she got a tincture that had like oil-based rubbing on her skin, and you know what? She has nothing anymore. No burns. Her doctors were blown away by how a simple oil-based CBD can get rid of that burn.
Don't they try and give them like this aluminum-based thing that they're supposed to put on their neck when they get the radiation? I remember someone I knew once had lung cancer, and they had radiation. They gave them this metal like cream to put on this. They never did anything.
No, I don't know, but I know she jumped on board right away with the CBD tinctures and stuff like that. Which again, it's my sister-in-law's stuff that she sells, that she does licensing for and sells. But it like the successes are there. Same thing with some of the elderly with their arthritis, where my sister-in-law, sells some tinctures and certain things, and all of a sudden arthritis is gone. Now they can get off the oxys that the doctor's been prescribing them for freaking 10+ years or whatever. It's like all of a sudden now they're finding the civilian population, veterans are finding this miracle pill, if so to speak, if you want to call it, with CBD and other products like it, where they realize they don't need to take oxys. They don't need to do this, that, the other. They don't need to do the rainbow pills where most of their ailments can be taken care of with just one thing.
Yeah, we have a medical system that is set up a certain way for a long time, and money flows through that system a certain way for a long time. And you have this plan that would fundamentally disrupt that system.
Yeah.
Oh, that's exactly right.
That's exactly
it fundamentally disrupt
everything.
Yeah, no, exactly.
And there's too much. There's a lot of people who are very entrenched in that system and don't want to see a change. And there's a lot of people, especially in government and in regulators and things like that, that just don't want to admit, you know what, maybe what I thought for the last 15, 20, 30 years is wrong.
Yeah.
And the only way you continue to think that way right now is if you don't take time and actually look at the data. We have the data that tells people what they need to know.
To Pete's point, my dad was like that. Cop from the 70s, arrested for a joint in the ashtray. His skin cancer was treated. He'd get the skin cancer burned off as a white Irish guy, light skin, always getting he had to go to the beach and cover up. And he started using the cannabis oils, and it helped it instead of going to get the the radiation burn, whatever they did to take that off. Changed his mind. He researched it. He looked into it and used common sense.
I'll give you guys a quick story. It's related, but not, right? A quick story. So a few years back on the job, I crashed my motorcycle and I got really fucked up, I ended up burning this entire arm from shoulder all the way down, like almost down to the bone, right? Horrid. I recovered from it. While I was recovering from it, a friend of mine who's into, natural stuff, homeopathy and all that stuff, had told me to use Manuka honey. Okay. It's a certain kind of honey. It's really expensive. It's bioactive. It's got a list of really good things to use. Right. So I ended up using it. I was like, fuck, I want to kill myself from this pain. Skin burns are terrible, especially road rash. Right. And for months, I'm having asphalt coming out of my arm. So I started using the stuff. And within weeks, it was like an upward, like the healing was incredible. So I go to my doctor, my department doctor, and they're like, well, what are you doing? And I said, you kind of laugh, but I'm using this stuff called Manuka honey. And I was taking plastic Tegaderm and putting it all over and doing all that. She was like, why are you doing that? I said, what do you mean why? It's working. See, I have no scars. Right.
They can't charge you for that.
It sounds, what's that?
They can't charge you for that though. So
well, that's exactly it. So I'm talking to her anyway. Now she's very smart, PhD, multiple fucking diplomas all over the thing. And she's like laughing at me. She's going, honey, really? You like all these resources and you're putting honey on you. And I'm like, okay. So I'm like, let me ask you a question. If you went to the ER right now with burns, what's the first thing that they're going to put on you? And she goes, medical honey. And I'm like, huh?
Yeah, synthetics.
Synthetic honey.
Yeah.
Medical honey. And I'm like,
why use the real thing?
Why use the natural stuff, huh? Where like, look, I have no scars. I should be like scarred beyond scarred right now. You know what I mean? And she was having a fight with me. And this is when I brought up the whole CBD thing. This was only a few years ago. I brought up the whole CBD thing. I said, well, can I, for pain and stuff, like pain management and all that, can I take CBD? And she's like, no, just take the oxys and take the this and that. I'm like, are you fucking retarded?
Yeah.
Like, what, like, all of that could have been prevented. I'm not saying the skin issue itself, maybe it could have with an oil, but even my pain management, my sleep issues, this and that could have been helped with maybe a little bit of treatment from THC.
But it's such a taboo thing. It's like, it's unbelievable to me. Like we go like, again, dealing with Section 12s all the time and crisis patients and all that, especially after COVID skyrocketed for law enforcement across the country. But you see how broken the system actually is when you're dealing with the same paranoid schizo over and over and over again, where they truly believe, like, for example, this last one, which was an amazing, still to this day, I love it, where, to this individual, this individual would say that people listen to her through the walls. They teleport between the walls. They would tell this person that to put up trash bags all over the house. That way,
sounds like fun.
Thermal imaging can't penetrate. There's a watch. But
I want to hang out with her.
Well, yeah, dude, a lot of entertainment. But she goes into crisis every 3 months as a result. She gets her rainbow meds. Rainbow meds stop working, and all of a sudden, it's back to square one.
Yep.
It's a moneymaker. I mean, between insurances charging her and charging the hospitals for the ambulance ride, the hospital stays, all that stuff, and for the medics, Big Pharma doling out the meds to this, paranoid schizo, and then for 3 months, getting all the treatments, and then it's back to square one. Can you imagine how much money that's generating for the hospital
over and over
again, where they're not really, again, treating the issue at hand. They're treating each symptom individually by different pills.
They put them on a treadmill.
Yeah, exactly.
You just keep going and going and going, and you never get off.
It's
dangling a carrot in front of you.
It's like the revolving door of justice, right? Yep. Where go in and out, in and out, in and out. Same thing with the medical field. People keep going in and out, in and out. We see it all the time. It pisses us off, and even I feel bad for this for the kid who's 20 years old. He knows more about schizophrenia than I think the doctors do because he had to live with it. He has to live with it, and he tells them what is needed, but they won't do it.
I have a big problem with the medical industry.
It's moneymaker. That's all. It's
there's very few medical. I know I have a lot of doctors in my family.
Yeah.
There's very few that actually they want to heal people. Mm-hmm. They take it upon themselves. It's in their hearts. There's a lot of them, like a lot of their friends, that they're just money made. They're just looking to make money. Yeah. There's nothing wrong with making money, right? But that's all they care about.
But you're in a field. That's the thing, though. You can make money, but you're in a field that.
It comes down to like a foundational issue, and I said it in one of my rants in one of the special episodes that we did. Right? It's the AMA, the Medical Association. It was created by an individual that wanted to get more petroleum-based products out into he had a ton of petroleum and wanted to get it out. His name is Rockefeller. It's not conspiracy, right? So it was either get on board with this shit. This is the medicine that we're going to use, or you don't get my money. It's the same exact shit going on here with Big Pharma.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, we have an endocannabinoid system in our body, right?
Yep.
Every living organism, right? Yeah. The Israelis discovered it in the 70s. Do you know how many U.S. medical schools teach the endocannabinoid system?
Take it 0.
5. Oh, 0. Wow.
0. It basically, it goes in your central nervous system. It regulates virtually all your body functions. It's not taught.
Why?
Why is it not taught?
Is it because cannabinoid is in the wording?
Well, it's because cannabis interacts with it, right? And they don't want to, in any way, shape, or form, validate cannabis. So we're just not going to teach it.
It's also there's also an aspect of it that they don't want to be told that they're wrong, right?
100%.
I had a show one time for one of my other businesses at Harvard Medical School, actually, and I was talking with somebody in there, and we started arguing, like a friendly argument. And they were talking to me about, this is pre-Rona too. So, and they were like, trust the science and trust the data and trust the this and trust the that. And I'm like, I'm that way to a point. And she was like, why? And I'm like, okay, 100 years ago, not even in this building, you were teaching people to drill into people's heads to release the demons. And she was like, oh, well, yeah, but we've changed since then. I'm like, okay, we've changed. 30, 40 years ago, some fat cat doctor smoking a cigar in a hospital had come up with this theory that babies don't feel pain. So when a baby would come out of the womb and needed like open heart surgery,
they just do it.
They just did it. he did one study on it, and his study was a newborn baby, they would take a pin and put it in the baby's foot.
Yeah.
And if the baby didn't react, he was like, it doesn't feel pain.
Yeah.
That shit continued until the mid 80s.
Yeah.
Our generation.
Yeah.
Doctors used to smoke in the hospital.
Well, that's what I'm trying to say. Like,
smoke in the hospital. Yeah. You can smoke cigarettes in the hospital in the 50s and 60s.
In Europe, you still can.
Yeah, I was just going to say, in Lebanon, you still can.
Really?
Yeah. In Lebanon, you still can.
I was just in Europe, and a friend of mine had to go to the hospital, and here comes awesome doctor. He did well, but he was like, how you guys doing?
I had no idea.
Okay.
Oh yeah. No, it's still old school in outside the U.S.
The whole follow the science thing is frustrating because it's a very selective follow, right?
Yeah.
So well, follow the data, follow the science on cannabis, and they don't want to hear that. Follow this science, they don't want to hear that. It's like I'm going to pick and choose what science I want to follow that agrees with my political views on a certain subject. That's the science I'm going to believe.
And that's not true science.
No.
Yeah, here's
they used to tell women they're pregnant to smoke. You won't gain weight.
Yeah.
Okay, great idea. Thanks, Doc.
I have a friend like that. He goes, you don't believe science? And I'm like, well, I go, do you, just because one scientist says it, I go, don't we always get a second opinion?
Right.
Don't you want to go ask another guy what he thinks?
Yeah, well, yeah, that's the whole idea.
That's the whole idea of science.
Science is test and retest.
Question everything.
And retest. You're always learning. You're always advancing. That's what you're doing with science. But I was going to say the whole, with cigarettes, right? Philip Morris and all these major cigarette companies that are out there. And I remember back, when we were growing up, it was that huge push of quitting cigarettes and make it more expensive, blah, 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 blah. Oh, now there's the nicotine patch and nicotine gum and blah, blah, blah. And as I was growing up, I'm looking at, my dad used to sell the nicotine gum. I'm like, I'm looking at it and I'm like, hey, it's made by Philip Morris. The same guys that sell fucking Marlboros and Marlboro Lights and shit like that. So I'm like, not only are they selling the poison, but they're also selling the antidote now. So like to me, like that, this was late in high school. That's when I'm like, oh, look at the hypocrisy. Like I'm starting to learn this whole, becoming aware of the way these companies manipulate policy, literally policy. They manipulate it, but they still benefit out of it no matter what. Yeah, sure, make cigarettes more legal, more expensive. We don't care, but you know what? We're going to do the antidote. That way our profit margin stays. Let
me ask you guys a question. Can you smoke cigarettes or any kind of tobacco in the military still?
Oh my God, yeah.
You can, right?
Oh, hell
It kills 500. I smoke cigars all the time, so I'm not dogging it. It kills 500,000 people a year.
Yeah, I used to smoke and dip at the same time.
That's just the U.S.
Just the U.S.
Yeah, that's just,
so why aren't we fucking focusing on shit like that?
Or how about medical malpractice?
That's the number 4 killer in the planet.
So we can't outlaw cigarettes.
Yeah.
We can't because remember back when we sued the tobacco companies in the late 90s and we got this $100 million settlement with tobacco companies?
Exactly.
Well, what happened was they paid that out over 20 years.
Yeah.
And what the states did is they went out and sold bonds based on that future revenue to take all the revenue up front. So if they put them out of business, then they default on the bonds.
Yeah.
They're not going to get paid for it.
I wonder how much of that has happened with Big Pharma.
Yeah, they became partners with the tobacco companies. The states did.
That's the way they do it. Yeah, that's the way they. I mean, that's the thing. People just don't see those things,
or they refuse it,
or
when
they refuse to see. Just like the whole thing with trust the science, or just. It's like, yeah, like you said, to a point, yeah. But I always like to get a second opinion, third, fourth, fifth. I'll read 10 research papers just to finally make my own conclusion, on a certain subject or whatever it might be. And that's the thing. I don't think people want the information handed to them. Not
isn't that what everybody's concerned about the COVID vaccine?
Yeah,
I'm vaccinated, of course, but some of the people that are against it go like, well, hey, this is kind of new, and I'm kind of worried about it. And there was just a state trooper that got, he was forced to take it or lose his job. And then he got a blood clot in his lung because of the vaccine.
Yeah.
And almost died.
Yep.
And he was like, I told you I didn't want to take this stupid thing.
Right.
Yeah. Historically, it has taken us at least 2 years to come up with a vaccine for anything. We did it in 6 months. There's going to be issues.
Of course.
There's no long-term effect studies on that vaccine.
No.
New England has the highest vaccination rate in the nation. We also now have the highest per 100,000 cases of COVID. So
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous. And it's telling, though, to me, is just how uninformed and misinformed everybody is, and how they lack the critical thinking skills that we all got back in the 80s, 90s, and, you know, to be able to think for ourselves. But the newer generation and even the older generation, though, because to them, they grew up where the news always told the truth. You know, where
they were reading the news back
then, and it was always truthful and fact-based and all that. So even, you know, my father-in-law, he says he doesn't know what to believe anymore. Yeah, he has no idea what to trust and what not to trust.
The good thing that we have going on right now is that you have guys like Todd and Bill that are trying to educate people on these things. Yep. And I guarantee you there's going to be cops that probably heard the last episode, maybe didn't, and they're going to hear this one, and they're going to be like, interesting. So we have to, they're almost pioneers in the industry of getting the information out there. And I'm sure you guys have information on your webpage too about the health benefits and all that. Or is that allowed even? Is the state allowing that?
Actually, yeah. Well,
see?
Yes, the state allows it. And we, on all of our brochures and our pamphlets, we have to have, you know, risk factors and education and stuff like that. We can't state things we believe to be facts. We have to say this study shows, or this study shows. We can't say cannabis will do A, B, and C for you. So there's yes, we can have it, we can do it, we can put it on there, but we just have to be careful that we don't state it as medical fact kind of thing.
Well, I mean, I was just thinking, like, what would a commercial for cannabis be on, like, mainstream media? Well, here's the thing. The reason why I was just thinking about laughing, where they'll talk about a certain pill, whatever,
86 side effects.
Yeah, 86 side effects to include death. Yeah. You're like, then why am I going to even fucking take this? Is it like, you'll be bleeding out your ass and bleeding out your eyes, and then you're going to die. But we strongly recommend you consult your physician. And everyone's smiling in the, it's like, playing basketball. Yeah. I mean, what would cannabis be? The side effects are
me sitting on my couch
and eating
and relaxing
and ordering Domino's. That'd be the side effect.
Uncontrolled giggling.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Like it just, again, just the way things are portrayed especially in this country. Because, Pete's got family overseas. I've got family overseas. Their views on medicinal treatment and treatment as a whole is so different.
Wildly different.
Compared to here. That's why the U.S. is the number one for drug use. Number one.
Consumers of
drugs. That's why cartels love being up here. They make all the money in the U.S., and it's like, why are we so ass backwards when we shouldn't be? With these types of things that is out there. It's unreal to me.
It's unreal.
Yeah, I think things have become so politicized. I mean, the same people that were bashing Trump when he said, I'm going to have a vaccine out in 6 to 8 months, he was saying back in January, February, or March of 2020. And the left was all over him saying, you can't do that. You'll kill people. You can't do this. And now that Biden has the vaccine out, and he was same vaccine, they're like, oh, everyone's good. Now we're mandating the vaccine.
Yeah, man, it's funny how it flips.
Yeah, New Zealand is practically a police state right now. And they're literally rounding up
Australia as well.
Yeah, I saw the videos of Australia. Yeah.
What's happening over there is insane. They're rounding people up.
Yeah.
It's almost a soft police state here, guys, because if you think about the little things that we have to go through, like there's even in Massachusetts, there's restaurants that will have a sign, if you're unvaccinated, don't come in here. And it's like,
I went to a place. I had to bring my vaccination card. I go, really? I got to bring a piece of paper to prove where I'm going. I'm like, this is getting a little Nazi Germany here.
Right.
Yeah.
But also think about how stupid that is, because you'll show them a piece of paper showing that you're vaccinated. I could have just made it in my fucking basement. Like, really?
Well, it's a simple CDC fucking thing that you could buy online and just fill it in yourself. It's nothing.
Oh, but that's a crime. Okay.
With a scanner to make the card.
Yeah. I mean, it's unbelievable. Unreal.
Massachusetts State Troopers.
I had a boss once. He used to call things like that mental masturbation.
Yes.
By yourself are making a difference, but doing nothing. Just make you feel good internally. But in reality, they have no practical purpose.
Oh, my God. He's so right. He's so right.
Next time you smoke a joint, put one of those little masks on that buy a CVS and blow. This shit goes everywhere.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I was at my kid's bus stop today. And all the moms were talking about how the schools are getting upticks of cases of Rona, right? And I looked at them and they're like getting worried. And I looked at them and I'm like, aren't all of you vaccinated? And they're like, yeah, I'm vaccinated too. I'm not getting the booster, but I'm like, aren't all of you vaccinated? And they're like, yeah. So what are you worried about? And they were like, what do you mean? I said, if you're vaccinated, your kids are wearing masks in school, let them get it. Who cares? What are you so worried about?
My kid got it. It was fine.
There isn't people dying on the fucking streets.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think deep down, people know that the vaccine's not going to stop you from getting it.
Exactly.
I think deep down, people understand that.
Well, here's the thing. All a vaccine is a weaker form of a virus that helps your body develop antibodies.
But that's not what this is.
But no, well, I know, but I'm just saying.
It's more like a flu shot.
Yeah, like the flu shot.
Maybe it will help, maybe it won't. It's more like a flu shot. It's not a vaccine.
Exactly. A true vaccine, like, in the military, I got the smallpox. I got smallpox vaccine, a true vaccine. I got anthrax vaccine, even though later on we learned that it was actually horrible to take, and I can only imagine what's going to happen as I get older.
But you can't smoke pot.
Yeah, but you can't but you can't get cannabis. We'll give you fucking anthrax that might, I don't know, make you grow fucking 2 more arms in the future, but you can't have a pill to help you with your PTSD.
Hyman, did you take the malaria pills?
Fuck yeah, night terrors galore. Oh my god! Hey, do you see the? Did you see the?
You're on another planet.
Yeah, did you see the studies from the VA? How now they're linking it to brain damage?
Yeah.
Yeah, the malaria pills. And the thing is, though, during the Rona, I know that like the federal government was talking about malaria pills to give it to. I'm like, fuck no, I'm not taking no fucking malaria pill. I don't care. I'd rather deal with the Rona.
Are there alternatives to that pill that they gave you guys that were just...
No, the military doesn't give you alternatives.
No.
Are they like in the market? I have no idea.
Oh, I don't know. They just tell you what to take.
Well, here's the thing. When I was growing up in Africa, there is a fucking shot they give you for malaria. Like in Africa, if you get a cold, they'll fucking give you the vaccine for malaria because everything to them is malaria. So it could be a simple cold. So I think I've been injected 40 times for malaria when I was in Africa. But up here, taking the stupid pill, again, like Bill said, the military can do whatever they want. I mean, they can mandate whatever vaccine, and you just have to do it, and that's the way it is. It's just the military. And, you go through a mill of fucking shots before you deploy, and who knows what the hell they're injecting you with. You're just one after another. You're just getting injected with these things. And it's like, we will have you do this, but when it comes time for your own health, we're not going to allow you to make a choice. That's the whole thing with these mandates. I think what people don't understand, like I've argued with my family about it before. I was like, here's the thing. What you don't understand, the reason why people are so against it is because they're forcing it.
They're being told what to do.
They're being forced to do it. Right. I get the military. Me and you, Bill, we're both prime military. We get it. It is what it is. You get especially when you're deploying. Yeah, especially you're deploying to a foreign country, you have to get certain vaccines and all that, and that's fine. But you're in the U.S. with a virus that has a 99% chance of survival, and you're being told you have to take this fucking vaccine.
Now, think about everything we just talked about in the last 10 minutes, right? We deviated from marijuana.
Well, but
think about what we just talked about, and think about how innocent marijuana looks in comparison to everything else.
Oh yeah. No, that's the thing. It ties back.
But I'm saying look, we're taking mRNA vaccines that you can grow a fucking extra nut from it or something. But medical marijuana is awesome and it's innocent and it's simple and it could have benefits.
It's a plant.
And it's a plant. And people are still like,
only plant that's illegal.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
I don't get it.
Yeah, no, I don't get it either. It's unbelievable. So, I mean, great show, guys, about medical marijuana. And if you guys just hang out for a minute, we'll come back to you and talk to you about a couple other things. But thank you for coming on again. Love having you guys on here. Sure, we'll see you guys again soon, talking more about medical marijuana. And great topic.
Yeah,
today,
guys, thank you so much for coming on. And we want that. What's the website that people should go to?
It's cannepreneurpartners.com or jointoperations.com.
Jointoperations.com. Okay, we'll post links to it too. I've been trying to tag you guys on Facebook and it's not working for some reason.
Facebook can be a little difficult when it comes to cannabis.
I figured.
Yeah.
Every episode we put out, we try and tag our supporters. So, and it's not letting me.
Well, you know, it's funny. Instagram is easier. I tag them on Instagram. Yeah.
You can.
Yeah.
Yeah. Instagram's easier. Facebook is, and there's no one you can talk to there. You don't get anybody.
No. Well, guys, hang out on the line for a minute, okay? So, guys, Iman.
Yes.
Awesome episode, sir.
Yes, sir.
We want to say thank you to our supporters. First of all, go to our website, projectsapient.org. Shoot us an email, projectsapient2020@gmail.com. We want to thank our supporters, Vector Shields, Gym Junkies, Havoc Journal, Second Mission, Live Boston, Wellness for Warriors, OD Kit, Eagle Eye Firearms, GunTrack, Hule Law, Fit Cops, 22 Mohawks, and Joint Operation, those awesome guys. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. On TikTok, you find us at Police Podcast. You'll see Iman doing silly stuff all the time.
Not the milk crate challenge.
You're stuck with that.
I am.
Guys, thanks a lot. Stay safe.
Stay sapient.